Most people spend their entire lives chasing a bigger paycheck. They believe that if they could just make a little more money, everything would finally fall into place. A better house, a nicer car, less stress, more freedom. But what if I told you that some of the highest earners in the world are living paycheck to paycheck? And at the same time, there are ordinary people with average incomes quietly building wealth year after year. The difference isn't income, it's understanding how money actually works. Over the last decade, I've spent years studying finance, accounting, investing, and wealth building strategies. And one lesson became crystal clear. Building wealth is not about being a genius. It's not about predicting the stock market. It's not about getting lucky. It's about understanding a few simple principles that most people were never taught. And in this video, we're going to start with the most important one. Because before you invest $1, before you buy a house, before you worry about retirement, you need to understand what wealth actually is. And chances are, it's not what you think. When most people think about money, they think about income. What's your salary? How much do you make? What raise did you get this year? What job pays the most? Everything revolves around income. And don't get me wrong, income matters. Income pays your bills. Income funds your lifestyle. Income determines what you can afford today. But income alone doesn't create wealth. In fact, there are doctors earning hundreds of thousands of dollars every year who struggle financially. There are professional athletes who make millions and still end up broke. There are lottery winners who lose everything. Why? Because income is only one side of the equation. What really matters is what happens to your money after it arrives. The big wealth myth. Imagine two people. Person A earns $200,000 a year. Person B earns $80,000 a year. At first glance, Person A appears to be winning. But let's look deeper. Person A spends nearly everything they earn. They have expensive car payments, luxury vacations, a large mortgage, credit card debt, and very little left at the end of the month. Person B lives below their means. They save consistently. They invest regularly. They avoid unnecessary debt. 10 years later, who is wealthier? The answer surprises most people. Because wealth isn't measured by how much money passes through your hands. It's measured by how much money stays with you and continues working for you. This brings us to one of the most important concepts in personal finance: your net worth. Net worth. Most people know their income. Very few know their net worth. But if you want to understand your true financial position, this is the number that matters. Your net worth is incredibly simple. Take everything you own, then subtract everything you owe. That's it. Everything you own includes things like cash, savings accounts, investments, retirement accounts, property, business interests, and other valuable assets. Everything you owe includes credit card balances, car loans, student loans, personal loans, mortgages, and any other debts. Assets minus liabilities equals net worth. That's your financial scoreboard. And unlike income, net worth tells the complete story. Because net worth reveals whether you're actually building wealth or simply appearing wealthy. The difference between looking rich and being rich. This is where many people get trapped. They focus on appearances, the luxury car, the designer clothes, the expensive watch, the big house. But wealth and appearances are not the same thing. In fact, they're often opposites. The person driving a luxury vehicle may have massive debt. The person driving a 10-year-old car may have a 7-figure investment portfolio. One looks wealthy, the other is wealthy. And understanding this distinction changes everything. Because once you stop trying to look rich, you can start becoming rich. It buys lifestyle. Net worth buys freedom. I want you to remember this phrase. Income buys lifestyle. Net worth buys freedom. Your income determines where you eat dinner tonight. Your net worth determines whether you can choose how to spend the next 10 years of your life. Income determines what kind of vacation you take. Net worth determines whether work becomes optional someday. Income gives you choices today. Net worth gives you choices forever. That's why wealthy people focus so much on building assets. They understand that assets eventually create income on their own. And once your assets begin producing enough income to support your lifestyle, you've reached a level of financial freedom that most people spend their entire lives chasing. Every financial decision you make falls into one of two categories. It either builds your assets or it builds your liabilities. Every purchase, every investment, every loan, every financial decision. Ask yourself a simple question. Is this helping increase my net worth? Or is it reducing it? Now, that doesn't mean you should never spend money. Life is meant to be enjoyed. But understanding the difference helps you make smarter decisions. Because once you see money through the lens of assets and liabilities, you begin making choices differently. You stop asking, can I afford this? And start asking, what is this costing my future? That's a powerful shift. The reason many people never build wealth isn't because they lack intelligence. It's because they never measure the right things. They track their salary. They track promotions. They track what they spend. But they never track whether they're actually becoming wealthier. Imagine trying to lose weight without ever stepping on a scale. Imagine trying to run a business without checking revenue. Imagine trying to navigate a city without a map. That's exactly what happens when you don't track your net worth. You don't know whether you're moving forward or standing still or moving backward. And what gets measured gets improved. The first step isn't investing. The first step isn't budgeting. The first step isn't buying real estate. The first step is awareness. Knowing exactly where you stand, knowing exactly what you own, knowing exactly what you owe, and knowing exactly whether your net worth is moving in the right direction. Because once you know your starting point, every decision becomes easier. You can build a plan, you can set goals, you can measure progress, and most importantly, you can start making intentional choices instead of emotional ones. If there's one lesson I want you to take from this video, it's this. Stop focusing only on income. Start focusing on net worth. Because income may determine your lifestyle, but net worth determines your freedom. The people who build lasting wealth aren't necessarily the highest earners. They're the people who consistently increase the gap between what they own and what they owe. That's the game. That's the scoreboard. And that's where your financial journey truly begins. In the next episode, we're going to go even deeper and calculate your real financial position. You'll learn exactly how to measure your income, expenses, surplus, deficit, and net worth so you can see with complete clarity where you stand today and what needs to happen next. And trust me, once you know your numbers, everything changes.